In case you haven't noticed, we're in a golden age of NBA coaching. A better understanding of analytics and the importance of a strong team culture has many teams operating with incredible precision and chemistry, which makes this season's race for NBA Coach of the Year particularly close. This year's candidates are the usual mix of coaches with the league's best records and those who have far exceeded our expectations. Traditionally great coaches are ignored if there's no discernible improvement with the team. Sorry, Steve Kerr, but this is a crop that will likely be on this list for many years to come. With the regular season drawing to a close, we thought it would be a good time to survey the NBA coaching landscape and rank the Coach of the Year contenders. Since there were just too many candidates to fit in the top 5, we also threw in an honorable mention section at the end. Enjoy! 2017-18 NBA Coach of the Year Rankings. 1. Brad Stevens. Gordon Hayward suffered a catastrophic season-ending injury in the very first game of the season. The Celtics responded by winning 16 straight games, and Stevens' name was all but etched on the 2017-18 Coach of the Year trophy. In the months that followed, Boston, as expected, deviated back to the norm. Stevens was the first to admit that they played over their heads to begin the year, but the fact that he's managed a league-leading defense and the East's second-best record will be enough to get him the award. This latest win streak without Kyrie Irving will only bolster his case, although it's not as clear-cut as it appeared to be back in November. 2. Dwayne Casey. Put some respect on Dwayne Casey's name. Raptors fans will be the first to tell you how underappreciated Casey has been over the past few seasons, but he's impossible to ignore this time around. Toronto is the only team in the NBA in the top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency this season, a feat that's been reserved for historically great teams like the Warriors and Spurs over the past few years. More importantly, Casey has adapted his team's style to fit the modern game with tremendous success, shooting almost 10 more three-pointers and making nearly 30 more passes per game compared to last season, most likely en route to the East's top seed. 3. Mike D'Antoni. D'Antoni won the award last year, and the Rockets are better in every conceivable way this season, so why is he third on the list? No coach has ever won back-to-back NBA Coach of the Year awards, ever. So while D'Antoni might deserve the award, it's highly unlikely that he'll win it for a second straight season, even though the Rockets lead the league in offensive rating and point differential while their defense has improved from 18th in the league last year to 7th this year. If anyone could buck the trend and go back-to-back, it's D'Antoni. It's just not likely to happen. 4. Terry Stotts. In an absolutely loaded Western Conference, not many pegged the Blazers as a potential number 3 seed. But that's exactly where they are, and Stotts deserves a ton of credit for turning Portland into a top 10 defense after being in the bottom 10 for the past 2 seasons. He's found a way to win behind his star guards and a series of interchangeable forwards who lack name recognition. He's also gotten valuable bench contributions from players like Shabazz Napier and Pat Connaughton, who were on the verge of basketball oblivion. 5. Quinn Snyder. Nobody really knew what to make of the Jazz after they lost their best player to free agency this past offseason, but we knew better than to doubt Snyder. He's established one of the best cultures in the league over the past few seasons, and his talents have been on full display this year, dealing with multiple injuries to key players like Rudy Gobert and Ricky Rubio while grooming Donovan Mitchell into one of the most promising young players in the NBA. It seems like the Jazz haven't lost a game since January, and they could enter the playoffs as a lower seed that none of the top seeds will want to play in the first round. Honorable mention. Nate McMillan, Indiana Pacers. The Pacers have been one of the best stories in the NBA this season, and McMillan gets credit for leading his team to more wins despite losing Paul George, and unleashing Victor Oladipo upon the NBA. Greg Popovich, San Antonio Spurs. Pop is always up for consideration, but it's for a much different reason this year. The Spurs have been without Kawhi Leonard all season, yet they're in position to make the playoffs in a loaded West while trotting out lineups with Kyle Anderson, Bryn Forbes, and Davis Bertans. Brett Brown, Philadelphia 76ers. Most expected the Sixers to take a step forward this season, but few saw them turning into a number 3, number 4 or number 5 seed this quickly. Brown has preached ball movement to perfectly take advantage of the unique talents of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and he's built the team into the number 4 defense in the league despite an extremely young roster.